Hey, what's up, guys? I just wanted to do a quick, not so much a review of Impact, but kind of go over a couple things that happened. It it wasn't really. It, well, let me say it wasn't the worst Impact ever, but then again, it wasn't the best. It was kind of like if you took certain things and split them up and like cut it in half. Half of it was a great Impact. The other half was just shit. Like, come on. Um, so we found out who the network rep was, which was a return. Which this return was not like it. It wasn't big at all for me. You know what I mean? It was. It turned out to be Mick Foley, and it's like Mick Foley was in TNA a couple months ago, maybe. So it wasn't like it was like a huge return or anything. Um, uh, I think they could have found somebody else to. I mean, he is a legend. He is the hardcore legend. He is Mick Foley. You know what I mean? He's one of the greatest of all time. But he was already. You didn't really need to build it up so much for it to be him. You know what I mean? If it was somebody else from like Jarrett's past or something like that, it would have been cool. But I don't know. I mean, I was happy with it. He Mick Foley made the announcement that from now on, TNA Impact is not going to be called TNA. It's not going to be TNA Wrestling. It's just going to be Impact Wrestling, I guess, to kind of prove that. That also he said that it's going to be about wrestling now. Wrestling matters. Wrestling is what matters, not all the other bullshit. But I don't think you needed to change the name of the show or anything to get that point across. What you need to do is actually have wrestling match after wrestling match after wrestling match. You can have different like promos in between and some backstage stuff, but like not any fucking 15-minute immortal crap or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's stupid. They need to get back to what made TNA great in the beginning, which was its in-ring action. You know what I mean? Anyway, we found out who Matt Hardy's partner is going to be for the tag team championship match at Sacrifice against Beer Money. And he kind of, in the beginning, kind of hinted toward it being Jeff Hardy, but I didn't think it was going to be Jeff Hardy. I didn't think it would be that obvious, you know what I mean? And plus, with Jeff Hardy having all this court issues, I didn't know if he was out of that, if he had cleared that up yet, so I didn't know if they were going to have him be on the show or anything. But I just didn't think it was going to be Jeff Hardy. I thought that would be way too obvious, you know what I mean? But it wasn't. It turned out to be, and I was kind of like thrown back on this one. It turned out to be Chris Harris, the Wildcat Chris Harris, which, as you know, was tag team partners with James Storm. There we go. In AMW. For a long time, you know what I mean? They had tag team titles together. They were one of the best tag teams in TNA history. So it was kind of like, playing mind games with Beer Money, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I don't see this being a great match. I don't see Matt Hardy and Chris Harris kind of tagging together well. I think their styles are just too different. I mean, not to say that Matt Hardy is like Jeff Hardy, where he's high flying and everything. He was always more grounded and stuff. But still, I think there's definitely a big difference in Chris Harris and Matt Hardy's in-ring skills. So I'm not sure how well they're going to tag together. I'm still interested to see what happens, just because this is such a big, a blast from the past. You know what I mean? I was happy to see him. I'm curious to see what they do with this storyline. If they keep him in TNA, if they start a feud between him and James Storm or something like that, or just to see what happens. The next big return tonight, it seemed like there was a night of returns, return after return after return. Even though there was just 3, but it was dude, really? You can't spread this out for a couple weeks or something, or do it at a pay-per-view. I don't know. But we found out who Miss Angle was, who Kurt Angle's partner was going to be for the intergender tag team match, or the mixed tag team match, whatever. Against Jeff Jarrett and Karen. And I was kind of thinking about it during the Sangriento and Suicide match. They were talking about it, and I was like, who could it be? I was trying to think of people, divas, from Jarrett's past. And the only 2 I could think of was Chyna or Deborah. Because I know they both had, they were both in storylines together in the WWF and stuff back when it was WWF. But anyway, it turned out to be Chyna, which, I mean, it was great to see her. Don't get me wrong. She is a legend. She's one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. She's the only diva from WWE to ever, I think, hold the Intercontinental title. I think it was, which is saying something, for a diva. She kind of broke the stereotype of, divas being, pretty, jumping around the ring, oh, look at us, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? She kicked ass and took names. You know what I mean? But I think it was just too long for her to come back, you know what I mean? She's been out for so long, and I know since she was in the WWE, she's had issues and stuff, I don't know, but I mean, I guess it's okay for one match, but I don't know if she should have a regular TNA contract. I just think it's too much of a shock to have her come back all of a sudden after being out for so long. You know what I mean? But then again, she may surprise us. I don't know. But anyway, 2 great returns. Mick Foley wasn't that great of a return, but whatever. But yeah, it was an alright show. Wasn't the greatest, but I'm curious to see what they do at the pay-per-view and then the show after that. But anyway, alright guys. See ya.